Hey guys, it's JR with Comic Book Theater Podcast coming to you today. We are talking to you about the Comic Book Theater's second annual Tournament of Madness held during the month of March. Part 1 of Round 1. This is going to involve heroes and villains both. Let's dive right in here and explain to you the rules of how things were picked. We got together some guys and gals and decided on who should be in the field of 48. We then took a randomizer and randomized for seeding so that we could have some interesting matchups in the first round all the way through. So you're going to see some that you may think should have been later on in the tournament. It was all done randomly, okay? So you guys tell me in the comments whether you like that idea. We might fiddle around with it next year, but for this year, that's the way we went. And this is going to be a show about the results of the very first half of the first round. I'll do another video later whenever we get the results of the second half of the first round, and may even dive into a few of the matchups that are coming down the road. So this will be a nice little video for everybody to kind of review how things went down. So the first matchup that we're going to get into is going to be Galactus versus the Red Skull. This may indeed have been one of the most dominant performances in the entire tournament, at least so far. It may get worse down the road, but 25-5, Galactus took this matchup. I think it boils down to the fact that people are really, really high on Galactus and hopeful for the future of Galactus, whereas I think that Red Skull, at least in the MCU, has come. He hasn't gone necessarily completely off of the board, but I don't believe that they're likely to rehash that character moving forward. So, all right, let's move on here to our next matchup. This is going to be our matchup in the Indies Hero, and it's Rick Grimes versus Umbrella Academy. This matchup actually ended up going into overtime, so we set the voting for 48 hours, and at the end of 48 hours, I look, and it was tied 13-13. And so we reminded everybody, hey guys, we can't have this end in a tie. We're not doing it that way. Let's get a winner. Next vote wins. And wouldn't you know it, Rick Grimes pulled this out. Now, this is a very strong showing for Umbrella Academy. I do believe in the future that if this matchup happens again, it's very likely to have a different outcome. I'm really pleased, though, that we got a good showing from both of these. I look forward to good things to come from Umbrella Academy, but this year, Rick is moving on to the second round. All right, moving on to Wonder Woman and Martian Manhunter in our DC Heroes bracket. Now, this is one that Wonder Woman was in control from the very beginning on this one. Martian Manhunter did have a late surge, but it was not enough to overtake Wonder Woman. She is definitely one that if we had not randomized the seeding, you and I both know she would have been a top 3 seed. And in this format of 12 teams or characters in each bracket, instead of 16, the top 4 seeds all got buys. So she would have got a buy anyway. This was the right result, in my opinion. And so, no sour grapes there. Martian Manhunter definitely had a good showing still. All right, sticking in the DC Heroes bracket, we're going to go to the Nightwing and Flash matchup. Nightwing did not fare nearly as well as I expected him to, while Flash is a very popular character from the CW, from the comics, from cartoons, Justice League, the whole nine. Flash has really been a very popular character. I expected with Nightwing there to be a bit of a stronger showing, but again, he was probably up against what would have most likely been the 4 seed if it had not been randomized. So no shame there for Nightwing fans. But next year when Nightwing shows up, I do expect our Nightwing fans to show up as well. All right, going back to the bad guy bracket, we're going to come up with Cobra Commander and Darkseid. Cobra Commander did all right in the early going, but Darkseid absolutely pulled away and beat Cobra Commander 20-8. It was probably 5 or 6 hours into the 48-hour voting period, and Galactus just started absolutely pulling away, and it ended up not being close. All right, back to the Marvel Heroes bracket, and this one was relatively close up until the very end for Daredevil and Rocket Raccoon. Daredevil, I believe on the strength of his Netflix series, ended up pulling this one out. I do know that there are some Frank Miller fans out there that hold out hope for Daredevil as well. Rocket Raccoon had a strong showing. I believe this time next year, Rocket Raccoon may have a bit stronger showing, but that's yet to be determined. It was a good contest between the two of them. Very interesting in the way that the votes lined out as well. It did seem that a few more older voters stuck with Daredevil. Our younger voters stuck with Rocket Raccoon, which is exactly how I expected that to break out. All right. Staying in the Marvel superheroes bracket, we're going to have Iron Man and Captain Marvel. This is a rehash of the Civil War II with Captain Marvel and Iron Man. Captain Marvel is absolutely a divisive character. She does have her fair share of fans, which I do not want to denigrate at all, but you have to admit there is some divisiveness there. While Iron Man is an extremely strong character and has a huge fandom from the MCU, I'm not sure if this was entirely an Iron Man vote or if part of this possibly was an anti-Captain Marvel vote. 21-5, not the worst beating that any of our heroes or villains have taken, but this was a resounding victory for Iron Man. Tell me in the comments if you think that this could have been a vote that was anti-Captain Marvel, or if this was just strictly done on the strength of Iron Man as a character. All right, back to the indie hero scene, and this one has me actually shocked for our result here. The Tick beating Snake Eyes 17-11. I am extremely happy with this outcome. I know that I tried to play impartial, but you guys know I am an absolute maniac for the Tick. But I gotta admit, as far as G.I. Joes go, no one was ever cooler than Snake Eyes. I honestly expected Snake Eyes to win this matchup, but I am extremely satisfied that the folks who are fans of the Tick showed up and voted well. Hopefully we can see the Tick move on from round 2 to round 3 as well. So guys, that wraps up this video. It was a great recap. Great tournament so far. I'm super happy with the turnout, but remember, if your character did not win this section of the tournament, there's still plenty of tournament to go. There's still many votes to cast. Don't sell yourself short. Who knows? The character that your character lost to may end up being the eventual champion of the entire setup. You never know. But just so you guys are aware, I'm going to leave a link to the Facebook page where the tournament is being held. That way you too can come and participate with us and have a really fun time joining in the conversation there on Facebook at the Comic Book Theater podcast page. All right, guys, be good or be good at it. We'll see you later.